Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is my review of the Adventure Force Nexus Pro. Alright, this is a blaster sold only at Walmart. You can find it online, but you can also buy it in store. If you buy it in store, you cut off the shipping price, which is a plus. This is a competitive level, entry-level competitive blaster. The price is a bit higher. So it is running at Walmart, last I checked, which was recently, at about $49 and change. All right? Unless you buy it online, and then, as I said, you will be paying some sort of shipping. You're thinking to yourself, wow, that's a little bit more than the last one. The last one was like 20 bucks. This is, as I said, a entry-level competitive blaster, and there are things about it. The most striking is that it shoots at a faster FPS, farther, all right, and it's more accurate. And it also takes short darts, which I'll be getting into in a minute. The short darts are more accurate themselves. The shorter length, flight stabilization, and a whole bunch of reasons I'm not going to get into here because you would be like, what is he talking about? They're more accurate, and in some cases, much faster. So, looking at the blaster, all right, it is obviously orange. The front grip is the prime for this blaster. This is not a motorized blaster, okay? So, what you're doing here is you're compressing a spring. If you look back at my rather long, tedious internals video on this playlist, you will see a shorter version spring. This has a longer one. The spring is being compressed back into the tube that the stock is attached to. All right? So, to prime, all right? So, just to get it out there, I do have the internals very, very slightly modified. That is, this end cap underneath the stock does remove. You have access to the spring. I do have a spring spacer on the spring. So mine is shooting at about 25 to 30 FPS faster. Normally, without that, unmodified, you're looking at, it varies, but 35 to 40 FPS is what I was getting out of mine. I think a lot of people say 30 FPS. Keep in mind, no matter what, whether it be 30 or 40 FPS, or even slightly higher, that is still, let's go from the 30 number, 130 feet per second. That is 60 feet per second faster than a Nerf blaster. Easy, okay? So, looking at the blaster, you have a removable stock with 5 points, okay? There's 5 points on that. You have an old school flip-up rear sight. I do not use that. And you have the front sight. Both are removable. These are just slide onto their version or idea of a Picatinny rail, all right? Front prime, this is removable, all right? I usually leave it on. I don't like the look of the handle being at the extreme front without it. That said, it does not increase the, it doesn't do anything. It's purely cosmetic, all right? You have a comfortable large hand grip, which is adult sized, so that is all good. And then you have the magazine. Now, there's two things here. Number one, with any pump springer like this, you have to have it back to release the magazine. So, you have the big trigger and the small trigger here. The big trigger is to release the short dart mag from the converter. The second trigger right here is to release the converter. Why are they doing it that way? Because this will shoot also with the other magazine long darts, regular Nerf darts, okay? So that's the release for that, and then you can put the converter in and have it set to short darts. Now, why do they have a second trigger just to release it from the converter? Because you can buy these online, just these. Now, they are 12 round. They're 12 darts can go in this. The large version is also 12 darts. Both are sold at Dart Zone. Dart Zone is the maker of this. Online, both extra are sold. I do not use these magazines because I do not like this whole double trigger thing, okay? The way I have it set up when I run it, there are no triggers under here being used, and I'll show you why in a minute, okay? So it's got a metal barrel. On the inside. This is good. I like this product because out of my competition level blasters, the Springers, this, well, you know what, to tell you the truth, I don't have any competition level motorized blasters yet. I do plan to get one. I'm not a big fan, as I said before, of motorized blasters. I prefer the Springers. I think they give more power, greater range, etc., etc. So out of my competition level Springer blasters, this one is good because it's small. This is a fairly small. Now when you get it, you're like, wow, this thing's huge compared to a lot of Nerf products, let's say, that are made up as toys. They're just to, you know, plink around the house. But when you get to the other competitive blasters, the Dart Zone Mark 1.1, my Prophecy R, which is fairly compact but heavy because the internals are all metal. When you get to those, they start, you notice a difference, and then after a while you go back to this and you're like, wow, this is really light and it's easy to turn corners, etc., etc. All right, so I'm going to show you how I run this. This I take off. This front one I actually leave on because I was using sights. This was my first competitive entry-level blaster. I was using sights or trying to get sights to work for me and I got used to this, and I actually can sight off that. So I leave that on. All right. This is coming out. As always, I'm using a worker converter and 15, unlike the 12 that comes with it, a 15 round short magazine for short darts. All right? Why am I using that? Because it's black. No, I'm kidding. Well, that works too for the aesthetics, but I'm using that because then I don't even have to use this. Because this is just pull. The converter just always stays in, so I never have to use this trigger. And there is no second trigger for the converter because it's pull. I just pull, enter, and pull. But you want to remember with these, you always have to have the spring compressed, all right? So, all in all, this is going to be the easiest to find, okay? There is a Dart Zone product very much similar to this, internally anyway, that is now being sold exclusively at Target, which is where Dart Zone sells its pro models, all right? It's basically sort of a Target version of this, but it is recently released. I do have one. It is recently released, and it's a little touch and go on supplies. This, I can go the 3/4 of a mile to my local Walmart right now, and there'll be a half dozen of these sitting there. All right, so this is a good entry point for, quote, air quotes, high-powered, competitive level blasters. The price point is not bad. $49.95 or whatever it is for an entry-level competitive blaster like this is not bad. Competitive blasters can get expensive. My Dart Zone Mark 1.1 was $150. All right. My Havoc Prime was $90. Okay. And that black monstrosity that you saw, that's my Prophecy R, the really high-powered one. There's been 2 iterations of that. The first iteration was $130, and the second iteration was basically an internal kit for it, put it up. The blaster is probably parts-wise and casing $210, something like that. This is what I blow my money on, my personal money. I'm not, no channel funds are going to this stuff, trust me. But no, this $49.95 is well worth it. All right. So let me see if I can, if you will grant me the moment, and hopefully this doesn't go shooting somewhere. Although you will notice I am pointing the tube away from my face. Okay, so there's one screw at the end of this darker orange cap. You can see the hole right there, I just removed it. And then the cap turns and comes out. There is your priming spring. Now this priming spring would normally go all the way down into the cap. It would normally go all the way down. What I have there, and I'm not exactly sure the size, you can see it right here, is a piece of, it's probably some sort of vinyl tubing, okay? It came off vinyl tubing. I'm not sure the size. It's probably 3/4 inch maybe. It came off tubing that I had gotten for a client to repair a water fountain, like a decorative fountain. So it was the tube that was going up through the fountain that was at the bottom being attached to the pump, and the pump was pumping the water out to the top. I bought the roll of it. It was maybe 10 foot of it for like, I don't know, $2.50, something like that. Anyway, I cut. Now it goes from where you're seeing it, right there, where my fingernail is, down into the end of the cap. So I've got about, it's probably close to an inch. And to tell you the truth, that was probably a little too much, but I'm not redoing it yet because, one, the spring has been compressed at that length now, and to remove it would just make the gun a lot weaker. And two, I'm not overly worried about that high of compression on the internals of this because I plan on swapping out the internals of this for a full metal internal kit. So if something does happen to this, I'll have it back up and running probably within the next few months, I'm hoping. So that's what that is. They do make upgrade springs for this for people that get very into it. There are internal kits for this that are already made by Worker. You can basically switch out the inside, the entirety of the inside with metal components and even higher rate spring. So there's customizable options to it. It's just an all-around good deal. Now, I realize that $49.95 is a jump from the last one. Understand that the last one, the Red Spectrum review, understand that that is a ridiculous deal. Okay, the $20 price point on that is silly. Okay, that it's just, you know, the plastic on that blaster is a little thinner, but the power and what you get, if Hasbro Nerf was making that, it'd be like 35 bucks. Okay? It's just a ridiculous, but it's not competitive level. It's hard hitting and strong for the toy aspects, toy play that it's meant for. It's way better than output wise than any Nerf product. But I wouldn't call it competitive. This is competitive. And with the short darts, you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm going to attempt a firing down at my little indoor 20-foot range here. So I'm going to pause this right now and I'll be back in a moment. Okay, and I am back and trying to find out where the camera dot is, and now I have, so that's a good thing, I suppose. So I have this loaded up. We are going to be shooting the short darts that it comes with, which are these guys. All right. I will show at the end of this what the difference is between this and a regular dart. All right, and I'm now just wondering why there's a circle opening up on the side of the picture here that I'm looking at. So hopefully that's not a problem. Anyway, here we go, firing now. And that is it. So, wow, you know what I just realized? I don't have my mic on, which could also be a problem, I'm guessing. So let me get that back on, because here at Suit&Tie, Dip&ChewGuy, professionalism is our thing. I'm kidding. Normally, at this point, most guys would laugh with their cameraman, but yeah, I don't have one of those. Anyway, so what you have is an overall good deal with this, all right? I will be doing a review of the Max Striker, which is the Target sort of equivalent. It is very much sort of the same and different at the same time. But right now, as I promised, I am going to go get a long dart to show you the difference between it and the short ones. And that red circle is still showing on the side over here if I'm looking at the monitor. So I don't know what that's about, but whatever. Okay, so here is what I was just firing out of the Nexus Pro. And that is a regular dart, a regular size Nerf dart. Now, this is a Dart Zone product. It is the waffle heads I was previously talking about in the last video. But it is, the green is the size of a regular Nerf dart, a bet with a different head on it. But that's what you're talking about. These come with the Nexus Pro. You get 12 of these and 12 long ones. But really, after you use a short dart like this, you're not going to want to go, and that's why I'm not promoting and firing them out of it. You're not going to really want to shoot long darts anymore. I guarantee you. All right? The other thing is, the 12 long versions of this that come with the Nexus Pro is the only 12 long versions of that you will ever see. Refill packs come only in short 100 packs. They're like blister packs on cardboard. They do not sell long varieties. The green waffle heads will fire out of this. But again, after you fire the short darts, you're really not going to want to do that. Unless there is an issue, let's say you're playing with kids and you're trying to bring down the power of the shot. But that said, this product is marked 14 years and older, okay? This is not a Nerf motorized blaster 8 years and up. This is 14 and up, and I would not be shooting this at your kids. I just wouldn't. Definitely not in an indoor situation. If it was at a range outdoors, maybe, but then they're probably going to be getting really agitated because at that range they're not going to be able to hit you with anything they have. Unless you're that kind of guy, and then, well, at that point you're that kind of guy, so it doesn't really matter what you're doing to your children, I think. Anyway, to sort of reinforce that, what I'm saying, see this? You're looking at a Nerf gun here that has a safety on it. Okay? So, this has been my review. Not, you know, my fear is like somebody from like the Nerf community on YouTube is going to show up and be like, oh, what is this? This is all wrong. Yeah, I'm not part of that community. I'm not trying to be part of that community, and I would be absolutely horrified if I ever woke up inside that community on any given morning. Anyway, so this is just my personal take on it. This is a good deal, even though it is at a higher price than my last review. It is, again, remember, spring powered. There's a cock to it. This one, because of that spacer, is a little bit harder to cock than they normally are. They're pretty smooth, not crickety or anything like that. The plastic on these are good. It is thicker. There's always a little bit squeaking at screw points and whatnot. You know, it's plastic. We're not talking real steel here. You know, it is, you know, at the end of the day, it is a toy, a bet for older children. So this has been my review of the Adventure Force Nexus Pro, which is made by Dart Zone and only sold at Walmart. The online page I will be linking in the description. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves. And as always, I'm all tied up. But besides that being tied up, God bless.